Entering the atmosphere in T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Omega Metroid Podcast from OmegaMetroid.com. My name is Andy Spiteri, joined by the birthday man himself, Doominal Crossing. Doom, it was your birthday yesterday. How the heck are you? Did you have a good day? What did you do? Tell us everything.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciated all the happy birthday wishes from everyone in our Discord and on Blue Sky. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone. The Magic 32, and I did have a good weekend actually. I had some vacation time from work. Attended SAC Anime with some of my Fresno friends. We all hung out. My actual birthday itself was pretty chill. Went to dinner with my family, but otherwise, yeah, had a great weekend. Was playing a lot of Hollow Knight, as you can imagine, as we'll be talking about today. And we talked about it last time, but my new TV sitting here to the side, which I will be putting up shortly once I complete Hollow Knight. So very excited for that. Lots of good things down the line.
Nice. That's very exciting. I was watching some movies this long weekend on my big TV. I'm excited to have you join the club. Okay, well, we have a lot to get into here, Doom. So much so, in fact, that we are pulling a first time ever on the Omega Metroid Podcast. We didn't think that without going 2 hours, we could fit everything that we needed to talk about with Hollow Knight into one episode. So we are doing part 1 of Inspired by Metroid Hollow Knight. And this is, I gotta say, like, by far the most requested episode that I think we've gotten since we've started this podcast. People have been asking for Hollow Knight stuff more than they've been asking for like certain Metroid stuff, which seems absolutely wild here. So we're going to get into it, and I'll give you kind of the rundown of what to expect with part 1 versus part 2. I have a little bit of quick shilling to do, though, Doom. An end of an era. The closing of an age just occurred on OmegaMetroid.com. The Great Metroid Area Ranking, the grand finale, has been posted live on Patreon.com/SPNet. The final 3 areas that we had to rank: Phendrana Drifts, Sanctuary Fortress, Super Metroid's Brinstar. We discussed them all. We ranked them. The list is definitive. It is done. It's ranked. Every area from this Metroid series has been ranked. I think there were 85 unique areas ranked. Hundreds, probably maybe not hundreds, but there's a lot of hours worth of area discussion, ranking, politicking, debating that you can go and get for as little as $4 over on Omega Metroid's Patreon, patreon.com/SPNet. Doom, you were a guest, which I thought was very appropriate for the final episode. Nobody contributed to the list more so than yourself. Of course, we had rotating guests on every month to kind of help go over some of those areas. I know that without getting into spoilers or anything like that, my list obviously looks a little bit different from yours. What were your takeaways from this experiment, the Great Metroid Area Ranking?
I had an absolute blast appearing on all these episodes, and it was, it was really fun because, like, obviously, like, there's, Sanctuary Fortress, as I've said many times, is my all-time favorite area in gaming, period. So, like, there's obviously some staples that I knew were going to rank very highly on the list. There were others that, throughout my journey, I was quite surprised as I really thought about and compared them that ranked a lot higher, and I don't think that ranking them higher, at least for me, was a mistake. I think we talked about this on the episode itself, but Pirate Homeworld is a huge one for me that prior to the list, I probably would have ranked maybe at like the halfway point, but it ranked like just barely above the top 10. And yeah, looking at the list, I think it absolutely deserves to be there. Pirate Homeworld is such a phenomenal area, and there's plenty of examples like that too. Obviously there's some ones at the bottom of the list that I'd put up, and vice versa. But I mean, that's the whole fun of the list. If everything did go my way throughout the whole list, I feel like that at least would be a boring list for me. So I love, at least for me, I really love like really fighting for my picks and trying to just inch it just a little bit further into the race. There's something fun about that, and I'm incredibly happy where we ended up.
Maybe we'll have to run it back like the Great Metroid Area Ranking Doom version, and I can try and influence you on where to put some of these lists. Yeah, you got maybe like 2.5 years to do this.
I was about to say, maybe that's what we do after Prime 4 comes out.
Maybe it is, and maybe we revisit the Great Metroid Area Ranking with some of the Beyond areas as well. But for now, that list is done. It's complete, and I'm pretty excited to announce our new Patreon series. We're going to do this, at least for a little bit, and it's going to be called GUI Plays Metroid. So for anybody that doesn't know, frequent collaborator of this podcast, GUI fame, who you would know from some of our regular episodes, but definitely Alien in Review. Him and I are obviously, he's one of my best friends. We do a lot of podcasting together, and I've been slowly trying to get him into Metroid over the years, and I've kind of got him there a little bit with Super, kind of got him there a little bit with Prime, but really we have a lot of games to catch up on, and so that's the next series. We're going to be talking, actually like in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be sitting down and we're going to be discussing Goo playing Nestroid and really like kind of experiencing that for the first time. And like, man, this guy went all out. He bought paper, he bought pencils, he made a map. He's doing it the old school way. So
wow.
Yeah, commitment. Yes. We're making a legitimate Metroid fan out of this guy. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
I feel like, and obviously I think this should be up to a vote from our patrons, but I almost feel like, I don't know, since he's already played Super Metroid, I almost wonder, like, should we just take him right from Nestroid to Zero Mission, so that way he has, like, that immediate direct comparison between the two, or, yeah, I don't know, maybe. That's just an idea that I have. Ultimately, like, I think that should be up to the patrons, though. But
I think you might be onto something there. Yeah, that's, and obviously, like, we're gonna do like a game like Metroid Prime 2 when we get to it. We're going to do like multiple episodes on Metroid Prime 2, like probably,
right,
breaking it down, because cramming one game into 1 month is a lot. Doom and I crammed Hollow Knight into the last week, and that was a lot. So yes, we're going to be doing them in segments, but yeah, that's going on right now, patreon.com/spnet. So yeah, that is something that we are proud of. It's done. It's out there. And we hope that you go and check it out. And hey, if you like some of what you hear, there is a ton of other bonus stuff. Actually, for like $1, there's like a lot of stuff that you can get, like a bunch of episodes about the Zelda cartoon, a bunch of movie commentaries, a bunch of talk about like music and wrestling and whatever. Like there's a lot of stuff over on patreon.com/SPNet. I think I might upload some of the early Spiteri reviews as well. So check it out. Check it out. Okay. Hollow Knight. So we started playing Hollow Knight about a week ago, or at least I did. And Team Cherry did not really do us any favors with their Silksong release date. Like, it went from like nothing for years and years and years to all of a sudden like, oh, hey, this is coming out next week, by the way. So the plan all along was to do Inspired by Metroid Hollow Knight in the lead up to Silksong, because we figured a lot of people would be replaying the game, and I was going to replay it as well. So I will say, I've been cramming Hollow Knight this last week. Like every free couple of minutes I've had to play, or basically free couple of minutes I've had at all, I've been playing Hollow Knight.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't want to say like every inch of my spare time I've been playing Hollow Knight. Like I said, I was, celebrating with some friends over the weekend. But yeah, pretty much any time that I have free time where I'm not doing chores or was out with other friends, I was on that Hollow Knight grind, and I'm still grinding. I haven't finished the game yet. I still have a bit to go, I think. But yeah, I'm hoping, we'll see, but I'm hoping by part 2 that I will have that final boss in the bag, but we'll see.
I can confirm. I'm pretty much at the final boss right now. I think I could have finished it, but I'm dilly-dallying a little bit just because I know that we have part 2 coming up. But yeah, what's your current time right now? Do you have any idea? I'll go ahead. I'm at like 23 hours played right now.
I should have taken a screenshot. I'm think I'm somewhere up there right now, but I can't remember what my in-game time was. I know last time that because the thing is, last time I've played multiple sessions since the last time I've like really paid attention and checked, but I kind of I kind of tuned out when I'm doing the start select process and all that.
Fair.
Yeah, but the last PlayStation where I remember checking, I was at like 15 hours. I'm sure that has gone dramatically up since then.
Yeah, so 23 hours. I've got most of the game done. I'm going for the 100%. I think I'm gonna get there. I think I have like a couple of mask shards left, and that's about it. But and obviously like the final boss. But yeah, just really enjoying my second playthrough actually. So I played this in 2018 when it first was released. Actually, I first saw Hollow Knight on the Steam page, like the featured games or whatever, in 2017, and I was like, oh, this looks really, really cool. Like I'm really excited to play this game. And I don't think it was out yet, and I don't even know if they had announced that it was coming to Switch yet. And then someone could fact check me, but I want to say it was E3 2018, the same direct that had the Smash Bros reveal on it, I think, or if not, like in and around that time, that they said like Hollow Knight is coming to Nintendo Switch and it's available basically like right away. So I remember I played it and I really liked it. I did have a few things that I do think hold it back from like the tippy top upper echelon of Metroidvanias for me, and I think that probably still rings true. But man, playing Hollow Knight the second time, I gotta say, like this is an amazing Metroidvania. It really is.
So now it's time to talk about my experience.
Well, before you do that, because I think a lot of people have been looking forward to this. Maybe let's break it down, what we're going to talk about on part 1 and part 2.
Sure, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So as we are going to get into, we'll talk about our original experiences with Hollow Knight and where, just like the general gameplay mechanics of how the game works, the general combat mechanics. We'll talk about the world. We'll talk about the atmosphere, combat. We'll talk about some things in and around like the game itself, and we'll talk about some of the items and upgrades and some of the earlier bosses. But I think what we're gonna do. Oh, and we'll talk about the map as well. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to save a lot of the bosses and the story and the lore for next week, for part 2. And maybe we'll even put in some hopes for Silksong, which is funny because I will have been playing Silksong by that time. So maybe we'll either talk about some hopes that we have for Silksong, or we'll just kind of give some first impressions on how Silksong is going. But we're gonna basically what you can look forward to next week is a real deep dive into the story, how it's told, what characters we really like, maybe some of the expanded lore, let's just call it, about like what's really going on in Hollow's Nest. We'll talk about some of the boss fights. Maybe we'll rank a few, and yeah, anything else kind of pertinent. So we'll go out from there. I kind of had a general rule that everything second Hornet boss fight could be on the table for today. I don't even actually know if you've got to the second Hornet boss fight yet, but
I haven't. When you said that, I was like, there's a second fight? I didn't know that. And I still haven't gotten there yet, but I don't know if is that an optional fight or not?
No, you need to fight Hornet.
Okay. Yeah, I have absolutely no idea when that happens.
You'll get there. I want to say, so I have all 3 Dreamers, and I don't think you do, right?
No, I was just about to get the first one, but we can talk about that later. Yeah. But there was a boss that was giving me trouble, so I was like, I'm gonna explore a little bit more, upgrade my nail, maybe find some more charms, get some more mask shards,
right?
And then before I take that boss on,
right? Okay, so really quickly, I want to set the table again before we kind of flip it over to you. So I played Hollow Knight, like I said, back in 2018. I really thought it was incredible then, and I think it's incredible now. It's got a very, very unique art style that I think like really kind of sets the tone and the stage for the game, and I think it like really draws people in. And I will say it's like the perfect blend of Metroid and Castlevania, so it really encapsulates like the Metroidvania feel. Some games in that genre tend to lean more Castlevania or tend to lean more Metroid, I find. This one I think is like really good smack dab in the middle, so I really like that about it. I do have a few things that I think like I'm more forgiving of now, but frustrate me, particularly in the early stages of playing the game, that I'm thinking that we probably share similar critiques on. But that being said, I still came away really enjoying the game back then, really enjoying the game now. You have said that this was not your favorite Metroidvania.
No, so I played Hollow Knight for the first time in 2022, so quite a bit later than you. Actually, like this was literally after I started doing the podcast, so that's how late I was to the game. But I was pretty excited because at this point I had a fair amount of Metroidvanias under my belt that I really enjoyed. You know, I heard a lot of great things about Hollow Knight. It was, you know, sitting in my backlog, so I was excited. So I was really excited to try it out, and I was streaming the game too, and it was a bit of a slow burn, but I was starting to really enjoy it, and it peaked at a boss that I think we're both gonna have a lot of positive things to say, which was the Soul Master, a boss that I still really enjoy today. And to me, that was the peak. And then right after I did that, my enjoyment of the game just absolutely nosedived. And I infamously, I had to tell my stream, I'm like, I have to stop playing this. I am no longer having any fun, and I cannot put on a good stream for you guys. And that was and I never liked doing it. It was a game that I felt like I should like, because I mean, I love Metroidvanias. I love Metroidvanias, several of them, and this is supposed to be one of the best. Why isn't this game clicking with me? And so I always told myself that I was going to give this game another chance, you know, sometime before Silksong came out. And well, now here we are.
There you go.
A lot further than I got on stream, and you know, I'll just let the cat out of the bag right now. I'm happy to report I'm having a lot more fun on my current playthrough than I am on my first one, to the delight of a lot of people watching, I'm sure. I definitely still have some critiques. There's definitely moments of the game that frustrate me, but I think what this game does right much more outweighs some of those more frustrating aspects that also hold it back from being like a top tier Metroidvania. I will say though, I can definitely understand why a lot of people are able to swipe away those frustrations and just focus on all of the incredible stuff that this game does, which there is a lot of.
So I would say this. I think that number one, I think that while I wouldn't say it's like in the tippy top tier of Metroidvanias, for me, like when I think of the absolute top tier, I'm thinking Ori and the Blind Forest, probably Ori and Will of the Wisps, and probably Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. After that, I think I'd probably say Hollow Knight. So like I think it's like if those games are S tier, this is like the A+ tier, I think. And like you could maybe Animal Well in there as well. I don't know, but like it's in that kind of upper echelon for me. So it's not like missing the mark totally. And I will say this too. I think that the game gets better as it goes on. Like it's the most challenging portion, the most frustrating portion of the game is certainly, I think, the beginning. Because obviously, and let's just talk about our critiques right now. It does that horrible Dark Souls, Bloodborne nonsense where if you die, like you lose everything that you have. Now, granted, it doesn't go that extreme. Like if you've used, you know, you still have an opportunity to get all of your money back, but it definitely is a frustrating mechanic, and I can hear people out there already just being like, get good, but like, okay, but I do think that it kind of inherently changes the way that you play the game, because it makes you be really slow, really cautious, really timid, which, you know, it is a way that you can play a Metroidvania, but it's not my preferred way to play a Metroidvania. I want it to be fast and fluid and not like forgiving, but I guess I just kind of want like, I I don't know. I don't want to feel like everything that I've kind of like spent the last hour doing is just washed away because you've died. And I do think that Hollow Knight is fairly forgiving in that it will let you go and, track down your missed geo, which is the currency of the game. Or you can even buy it back with rancid eggs. But I will acknowledge, like, it certainly does. It can certainly be frustrating at the beginning when you're kind of trying to build everything up, and like every minor enemy, it feels like a really big obstacle.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, it wasn't too big of a problem. I did post a funny moment in the Discord where I did fail to like kill the shadow self and I lost like $1,000. That was a little frustrating, but that's the only time that's really happened to me. It's not a big deal, but it's just kind of like it feels unnecessary because like I don't know. I know there's like a speed running strat that's associated with it, but other than that, I don't really know what it adds to the game is my thing. And there's a few things in Hollow Knight that are like that. I think this is of those. I think this is one that I'm fine with. Like it's a little annoying, but also not something that I would mark the game down for, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think like the death mechanic is like certainly my biggest like I don't even know if critique is the right word. Like what I would have changed it to be something else. I think, but I can't say that it's unfair or that like it's not something that the game. I don't know. Doesn't give you the opportunity to get your geo back after you die, but I do wish that it was different. I will say that. The other thing that I wish, just to get some of my negatives out of the way right away, I do wish that when you were fighting a boss, you just had the opportunity to like redo it, especially for a game like this, like where like the pattern repetition is such a big part of the experience. Like I do wish that you, once you got into a boss encounter, could just redo it.
I think it's fine for the most part. Usually like the benches are pretty spaced out, I think fairly enough for the most part. There's definitely a couple like Soul Master, despite how much I love that boss. That the distance between that bench is pretty egregious. Still a fantastic fight in my opinion, but I feel like most of the times at least the bench placements are close enough to where I don't mind it too much, I think. I think my two biggest critiques of the game, first off, the length. As much as I love this game is just way too long. And again, I want to stress, I'm having a lot of fun, but like, I think this game would be substantially better if it was like 50% shorter at minimum.
No way.
Yeah, the game, it's, I love pizza. If I had to eat pizza for 2 weeks straight, I would never want to eat a slice of pizza again. Now, I'm not there with Hollow Knight. Again, I'm enjoying playing Hollow Knight, but it definitely, there's several moments in the game where it's like, okay, let's move on. Let's wrap it up. And it's like, no, we're just getting started. And yeah, I wish the game was a little bit shorter. I think that would just help the pacing so much better. And I don't know, maybe it's a skill issue on my part. Maybe there's someone out there who's like, oh, I can beat the game in 3 hours, get good. Yeah, you're probably right. I'm probably very bad at this game.
Yeah, but I don't think that like speedrunning should factor into a Metroidvania. Like we're talking like assuming that you're playing for the first time. I agree with you. This is a long Metroidvania. My other playthrough has 28 hours and I'm 84% done. This one's probably going to be about the same with 100%. Like that's a long Metroidvania.
But yeah, overall, I think if the game was shorter, you just nipped and tucked some content there. I think for me at least it would just flow a lot better. And then another thing, and I've discussed this when we've played other Metroidvanias before, but I'm not a fan of perks in Metroidvania. I'm not a fan of perks in single player games in general. I feel like that just works a lot better in multiplayer games. And I will say Hollow Knight is not the most egregious example I've seen. I'd probably give that to Jedi Survivor. I absolutely hate the way it works in that game. But yeah, every time there's a perk system, I'm not a fan of like pausing my game and fiddling with all my crap and being like, oh, test run if this works. Oh, that doesn't work. Let me try and experiment with another. Just give me all the abilities, and if it's too overpowered, then nerf the abilities. The only time I ever want to pause my game is if I'm checking my map or reading a lore entry. All that other nonsense, get that out of here. And some of the perks should not be like oh, you want to you want to see where you are on the map, take up a perk slot. Oh, you want to actually have the geo fly back torch, that's another perk slot. And it's like, come on, really, like that's just that should just be a part of my inherent abilities. So I'm not a fan of that. Again, it's not the most egregious example, although I will say I feel like most of the Metroidvanias we have today, the only reason they have perk systems are because Hollow Knight has a perk system as well. But I'm not going to hold that against Hollow Knight. I know I'm in the minority. A lot of people have gone after me over that take before. But yeah, I still hold that take today. I want to stress though, I still really enjoy this game.
I don't think I agree with either of your points. Like, I don't think that this would be, like, I think the length is totally fine. It's like a big immersive Metroidvania, and I think the length kind of gives it a gravitas that maybe there's definitely an argument to be had. Like you don't want to overstay your welcome. Like, Ori is shorter, but I think it's just like really tightly done and really just well. But I think like this world in Hollow Knight, which we'll talk about in a second now that we've got our critiques out of the way, I think this world is just like so spectacular that like I don't mind being in it for as long as you are. I don't feel strongly about the perk system. I could take it or leave it. I actually will say this though. I don't disagree with you that like the geo and the map, those should just be base abilities. The rest of it I think is okay. Like the perks that I have are like, you get extra soul, you get soul if you take damage, your needle is longer, like much longer. Those ones I think are fine. But some of them are fairly basic, and charm notches are like difficult to come by in this game as well. Like, they're not like readily available for you to have and to upgrade. So I you know what, that's not like I guess I don't like inherently disagree with you, but I don't think that it's like any kind of like negative experience on the game, but I can see where you're coming from.
You don't feel as strongly as I do, and even and again, even now, like again, I think there's Metroidvanias that do it a lot worse. I think, if there has to be a perk system, I think Hollow Knight does it okay enough outside of like those base abilities, but again, nothing that's gonna make me hate the game.
Well, obviously, like a ton of people love Hollow Knight. I was surprised, actually. Maybe I shouldn't have been, but this actually hurt my soul a little bit reading this. But when Team Cherry put out their release for Silksong, they also gave us an indication of just how successful Hollow Knight is. And this, honestly, this hurt my soul. Hollow Knight has almost outsold the entire Metroid series. Like, it's pretty close. Hollow Knight has sold 15 million copies, and Metroid has sold, I think, 22, just rounding up. Now, obviously, Metroid retails for full price, where Hollow Knight was criminally underpriced, and it seems like Silksong is also going to be criminally underpriced as well, because this is a Metroidvania that I think that you could have absolutely charged like full retail, like $80 in Canada, $60 in the United States, and I think you would have got your money's worth out of this for sure. Now, obviously, there was some thought given, and probably the right decision for an indie game like this, of like, let's just get this over to more players. But like, this is just an insanely successful game. Maybe the most like, I mean, I guess like Stardew Valley and some of those games could be considered the most successful indie game of all time. But like, this has to be in the conversation for that as well. So there's obviously like a lot of like really good stuff going on, and I think like the thing that really just captivates your attention is the art style and the atmosphere of this game. It's like a Tim Burton, claymation, Nightmare Before Christmas, Corpse Bride, Coraline kind of a world, and the characters just like, absolutely captivating. The boss designs are so incredible. The world is like the detail in the world and the structures and the architecture just looks like absolutely phenomenal. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like the character design and world building of this game might be I don't know. There might not be a better Metroidvania. There might not be like a lot of better games that really just sell you on their world and the atmosphere that it creates. Like this to me is just like it reminds me of playing Super Metroid for the first time and just coming down on the ship in Criteria and seeing the rain. Like that was a real tone setter for that game and the atmosphere. And like the second that you start this game, like you are fully immersed in this world, and the world is massive, and like you keep on uncovering new things and new characters and new mysteries, and I just think that is probably the biggest reason like why this game is just connected with so many people. It is revered by so many fans. I can't say enough good things about like the world that this game creates, and we'll get into the areas specifically a little bit more next week, but like I mean, my goodness, like what a world that this game has made.
Agree. Before I get into that, though, I do want to also talk about the sales as well, because I think I might have a different point of view on that. Where I think prior to my playthrough, I would have been insanely jealous, like, grr, this game is doing better than Metroid, and the caveman brain part of me still feels a little bit of that. But one, I mean, I'm incredibly happy that an indie studio found this kind of success. I think that's again, especially in this game climate where like projects are getting canceled left and right, where you have companies like Microsoft that are trying to outsource more of their stuff to AI and all that nonsense. It's really nice seeing this really incredible success story. But even beyond that, Hollow Knight doing good only helps Metroid. It doesn't hurt Metroid at all, I think. In fact, I would argue, Metroid Dread's the best-selling Metroid game of all time. I would argue that like a bunch of those new players who played Dread for the first time, I would imagine a good portion of them probably tried that because they tried and resonated with Hollow Knight so much. And I think Silksong is only going to increase that even more. So if anything, yeah, do I wish a lot of that translated to Metroid? Sure. But I think in the long run, Hollow Knight, being the success it is, it only helps Metroid, so how on earth could I possibly be mad at that? Going into the art direction.
Let me add one thing really, really quickly to that.
Sure.
I'm with you. I didn't want to make it seem like I'm begrudging this game's success, because like I am with you. I think like that's awesome that a Metroidvania game can do and be as successful as this one was. I will say though, like because Team Cherry underpriced this game so much, that's where all this discourse about like, oh, is Metroid worth full price came from. And I think my answer is just like, Metroid Dread was worth full price, and so was Hollow Knight, and so will Silksong be. But that's not what they decided to do.
Right. But anyways, going back into the art direction and the world building, as you mentioned, absolutely breathtaking. If we were ranking this on the scale, this is one of the easiest fives I think we've probably ever would give on this podcast. It is just absolutely incredible. I was telling you before we started recording, I actually have no idea what this game's story is, but I also don't really care that I don't know, just because the world building is just so riveting and it sucks you in. And so even though I haven't put all the pieces together yet, I'm just so infatuated with everything that's happening on screen, and with all these little crumbs, and it's like I don't know what that means, but like that feels spooky / mysterious / important, and I'm all about that. Like like earlier in my playthrough today, I revisited the first area, and I didn't realize it kind of does a Metroid Fusion thing where like the area like evolves over time. Yeah, and I don't know if that's something we want to talk about on this episode, or if we want to wait till the next, but yeah, that like completely shocked me, and like the gameplay changes in that area as well. So not only do we have world building, but you also had a little bit of mix up in the gameplay. So I was really digging that, and like every single area, like it is just filled with so much love and care.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Like it's it's just like an absolutely jam-packed world, and like it really does like remind me, and I'm sure that multiple people have made the same comparison. But like, I love Nightmare Before Christmas growing up, and like you watch the DVD. Growing up, I still love that movie. But you watch like the DVD or the Blu-ray, and it's just like, it's something crazy. Like each second took like 23 shots or whatever it was, right? Like it's something crazy like that, and it almost seems to me like that's kind of the model that Team Cherry went for here. With this game, which might explain like why Silksong is taking or took such a long time to come out. Just because you could really just see that level of attention to detail and care for the craft in the world. Like I don't remember like a Metroidvania game, maybe outside of Ori, that felt like so just expressive but ethereal, but like kind of dark and foreboding. Like this game just has a really captivating atmosphere, but it also isn't like a Bloodborne, for example, because I think a lot of people, and we'll talk about this in a second when we talk about gameplay, but I think a lot of people say this is like a Souls-like Metroidvania, but I found that for me, like a lot of those games aren't super like charming. I don't think, like, they're kind of bleak and brooding and whereas like I think like all the bugs and characters in this game are like very charming, visually appealing, and like I think that there's like humor in this game too, which doesn't always, it's not the type of game that you might expect it, but it's very welcome when you see it. So I really think that like this is among the best Metroidvania worlds honestly ever created, including Castlevania and Metroid games.
Yeah, I was about to say I'd include Castlevania and Metroid in that as well. Yeah, Hollow Nest is, it feels like a storybook come to life, but a very dark storybook, maybe a cursed storybook. Yeah. And I mean that in the best way possible.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. The world is absolutely amazing. How does it feel to move around the world? We've had some discussions in our Discord. A lot of people, as you can imagine, are replaying Hollow Knight. And you should come join our Discord, by the way. We're talking Hollow Knight, Silksong, Metroid Prime 4, if and when we learn more about it this year. But a lot of there were some people saying like, oh, like I don't love the movement or the combat, and to that I say I don't know what game you're playing, because like I love this game. To me, has like the perfect controls for a Metroidvania. It's simple. It is reliant on you dodging and being opportunistic. I think that like the combat in this game, the way that you can like pogo and just like slowly upgrade your arsenal to have a few more special moves, or implement some of the charms that can augment or tweak how you fight is like a really cool system. So I really love the combat. I wasn't sold initially on like how you heal in the game, but I do have to say I remember it won me over, and for this playthrough, I really am just like, this is, for a game like this, I think that the soul healing system is like basically the perfect way to do that in a game where you are going to be taking a lot of hits. See, the reason that I like the charms in this game is because you can customize the way that you accrue soul. If you take it through damage, if you accrue it through like attacking, a couple other options as well. I think that it does a really smart job. What do you think about the combat here and the soul healing system?
So I absolutely love it. I'm a huge fan, and I think this goes into your critique maybe of how the opening is definitely a bit of a slow burn, because like when you first start, not necessarily with the combat, but I would say when it comes to just general traversal around the map, you don't really have a lot of tools to explore with, and your walking speed is pretty slow. But like once you get the dash, like you could start like really exploring and going across the map. You get the I can't remember what it's called, but like the pseudo shine spark in the crystal cave, that starts making traversal a lot speedier, a lot of fun. Definitely a lot riskier than the shine spark because you're not invulnerable. But I think the way the game sets it up is pretty fair for the most part. But yeah, once you start really getting those tools, like the movement is fun. The wall jump is incredibly satisfying, and it feels like insanely responsive to a degree that, you know, I really haven't felt in another game. Like single chaining wall jumps is just like lickety split, super easy. And so yeah, once you start getting some of those upgrades in that first half of the game, I felt like the exploration just really improved like that. And then to the combat, you know, I think it's simple but effective. I really, you know, it's really fun. You know, it's the spacing that I feel like is the magic. You know, getting your spacing just right to where you're hitting these tippers. You know, memorizing the attack patterns. And then also with the healing system, I think the reason that works so well is because of how much risk versus reward it is. You don't really feel it too much in the general exploration, but in a boss fight, you know, you're looking for these openings where you can, you know, take a couple seconds to heal, but you do that, you risk, you know, being a sitting duck and taking a hit. And then you also have times where you'll stun the boss and you have to make a decision like, okay, do I want to heal myself up or do I want to start wailing on the boss and getting some free hits? And that just makes the fights feel so much more dynamic. So all across the board, I'm a huge fan of the movement and the combat.
I think the combat like just feels so like good, and some people were you know saying that they wish that there was more depth to it, which I guess I can see, but I like when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, this is basically Castlevania combat. Like, you've got spells that you can use, you've got different ways that you can kind of hit your opponent, like from all different directions. Like we said, you can pogo, you could charge up shots and stuff like that too. Like, I think that there is like definitely some depth to this combat system. I don't think that it's fair to just say like you can you could just like hit and that's all that you have to do. Like, I actually think that one of the strengths of this game is like you can, when you're fighting bosses, like you can memorize the pattern, but like it's not like Ravenbeak. Like Ravenbeak, once you memorize that pattern, as we know in Dread mode, he will very likely not hit you once. But like with Hollow Knight's bosses, I feel like there is so much going on. Like it's fairly close quarters. There's always a level of like reactivity, I guess, that you need to be like on your toes for. Like there's always going to be a little bit of like improvisation there. So I feel like it keeps you like really engaged into these boss fights, which can be frustrating because it's just like, God, like I died again. But it really does feel satisfying when you win. And yeah, I would say it's like the right mix of like keeping you on your toes, but like once you do have some of those patterns down, like you can anticipate more than just react to these boss fights. I think I was just gonna say really quick, one charm. I know you don't like charms, Doom, but the charm that really kind of unlocked things for me, and I'm positive I must have used this in my last playthrough too, is the quick focus charm, which makes your healing like much faster.
Because I didn't use it because I believe that one's 3 notches, and I was like, oh, but I really like these two, but maybe I'll give that a try for some, because yeah, there is a few boss fights where it's like, oh, I want to heal, but I know I'm not gonna have the time, and I'm just gonna end up taking another hit, wasting energy there. So I don't know, maybe I'll give that a try,
which is kind of cool because like I've been to some bosses too where it's just like I there's too much going on, I can't heal, like I'll just get crushed if I do. So like then you throw on like Joni's Blessing, which is 4 notches, but it like gives you a hard shell, gives you extra life. Like that's why I'm kind of like more positive about some of the charms that you can get in this game.
Well, I guess my thing, and I'll get back onto the main topic in a bit, but I guess my thing is like I would rather just have the charms nerfed a little bit and just have them be permanent abilities rather than kind of doing that. But you know, again, not a huge deal at the end of the day. As I mentioned, I think there's games that do that much worse than Hollow Knight. But yeah, going back to what we were talking about, I don't think simplicity means lack of depth at all. I think you can have. I would agree. Hollow Knight is theoretically very simple, at least in terms of its controls, but like it's incredibly in depth because of how precise you have to be with those simple controls. I think another great comparison would be the old school NES Punch Out game. I mean, that's a fairly simple game built for a simple controller with a limited amount of buttons. That game is ridiculously hard. That game has a ton of depth, as anyone speedrunning that game will tell you about. And I think Hollow Knight is no different in that regard.
Yeah, and very satisfying bosses. I feel. You know what? Let's just talk about some bosses. Let's just talk about some.
Yeah, sure.
So there's definitely, this game is like packed with bosses. There's like 50 bosses in this game. It is outrageous. Not all of these bosses are created equal, but like there are some really, really exceptional bosses. And I don't like, the thing about these bosses too is like you can almost do them in like any order. So like we'll try and talk about some of the ones that we've done or not done, but there might be some. Yeah, there might be some ones that there's definitely some ones that I've got to that you haven't yet, but there might even be some ones that you've done that maybe I haven't yet, because there's certainly a lot of optional bosses in this game. We should start off though. Soul Master is a very cool fight. That comes a little bit into your playthrough. You fight him in Soul Sanctum. Is that what it's called, Doom?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool name, Soul Sanctum.
Yeah, that whole area is awesome. That's like some of my favorite world building in the game.
Oh, dude, that area is like straight up Castlevania. It's so good. It's so incredible. I gotta say, I don't know how, and I don't know why, and I don't know if I could do this again. I beat this guy on my first try.
I also don't know how I did it first try, because there's even some of the bosses beforehand. Even some of the bosses before, I think False Knight I died, which is the first boss in the game. I died once, but yes, yeah, Soul Master and Hornet I somehow beat on my first try, which was definitely not how my first playthrough went. I think Soul Master, my first playthrough, must have taken me at least 30 minutes, but yeah, regardless, like again, this is such a fantastic boss fight. I think one of my favorites in the game. Definitely like a lot of fun pattern memorization, really cool design. I love the sound design of Soul Master too. He has these guttural noises that are just so disturbing. Just such a cool boss. I love him.
Okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna name you some bosses and tell me if you fought them yet. The Broken Vessel.
Yes, I fought last night. That's a really fun fight. I like that a lot.
This one was really cool.
I haven't fought the I haven't attempted the light nail version, the dream version of that fight, because there's a few fights. A few of these fights have hard modes attached to them, basically, but and that's one of them. I haven't attempted that yet, but yeah, the original boss fight I thought was a lot of fun.
That's pretty much where I'm at. Like in my next thing is to, and we'll talk about the dream nail here in just a second, but my next thing is like I got to get my level of soul up to like 2,000 so that I can get like all the rewards and stuff like that. So I got to beat these hard mode bosses somehow, some way, and they are hard. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be attempting that this playthrough.
I thought that Broken Vessel was like really fun. This guy just whooped me multiple times. Like he's got the orange infection on him, which is like just a killer to try and contend with, because it's all double damage. So I really enjoyed that one. I gotta say, so I also beat this guy on the first try, and I almost wish I hadn't. Is there a better boss than the Dung Defender? The defender of all dung.
Defender. I love Dung Defender. That's another one I beat on my first try on this run. I definitely didn't do that on my original run, although I will say on this run I fought him a lot later than I did on my first run, because I took a much different route. That's also another really cool thing about Hollow Knight we haven't talked about is, once you get to Soul Sanctum, and technically you can branch off before then, but like the game kind of bicycles you to Soul Sanctum, and after that, there's a lot of different opportunities to go where you want, and so yeah, from that point on, like my current playthrough completely different from my initial playthrough in terms of how I progressed, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, going back to the bosses, Dung Defender, awesome, great vocal performance. I can't remember who the voice actor was, but every single time he did his little chants though, oh yeah, like I got a kick out of it every time.
Okay,
you keep throwing that dung.
Really quickly, we got to talk about one of the enemies in this game, and I actually have Hollow Knight in front of me here. That's what I'm looking at right now. I'm gonna try and find this guy, but it's like the flying little guy that you see in City of Tears, the flying like bug or whatever. I'll get you the name in just a quick second. This thing,
the Soul Twister.
Maybe let me find him here. The husk, the winged sentry. So the winged sentry, okay? So they're like the bugs that fly around. These things, I'm playing this, I'm fighting them, and Samantha looks over to me and she's like, why does this thing sound like Milhouse from The Simpsons? And I was like, what?
I can see it.
And then like, this thing said something again. I was like, oh my god, that sounds exactly like Milhouse from The Simpsons. I couldn't believe it. And I also want to shout out the worst enemy in the game, those stupid shrieky birds or whatever that hang out on top and like screech at you before they dive bomb you. Those are horrible. They freak my dog out. So I had to shout those out. I'm trying to find the name of them, but now that I'm looking for it, of course I can't. I'm sure I'll find it in just a bit. But yeah, those guys are terrible.
Yeah, they're not fun before you get the lantern. After you get the lantern, though, I feel like they're pretty easy to spot, and you don't, rather than having to tiptoe and listen for those voice cues. That is unfortunate about your dog, though. That makes me sad.
Well, my dog doesn't like a lot of different noises. The bellfly is who I am talking about. By the way, I love that they're such like a detailed like what's the word I'm looking for?
Bestiary, yeah.
Yes, bestiary. Thank you. It's on the tip of my tongue. I love that it's detailed, and I really like that you unlock more like information about the monsters that you're fighting with the more that you defeat them. A few other games do this as well. I want to say Castlevania does this, and I think it's like a really kind of effective tool to encourage you to like not just bypass enemies when you get the ability to do so. So I thought that was really cool. Let's just quickly, I just want to do a few more bosses before we move on. I don't think you've gotten to the Crystal Guardian or the Collector yet. Would that be right?
No, I have done Crystal Guard. I fought both Crystal Guardians.
Okay.
I actually just fought Crystal Guardian 2 today, and got the charm associated with him, so he's done. I don't was the Collector the other one you mentioned?
Yes.
I don't believe I fought that yet.
Oh, I wanted to shout out those two because I thought they were really cool. Crystal Guardian, more so actually just for like the actual like where you're fighting him. Like I thought the arena was really cool. I thought the lasers look really spectacular. The fight itself was like fine, but I think the aesthetic of it was really awesome. I love the Mantis Lord fight. Like, it's kind of easy like for Hollow Knight, but I really liked it. Especially the 2-in-1.
Mm-hmm. I haven't done the Mantis Lord yet, so.
Okay.
Okay, is that a hidden boss in like the Mantis lair?
It's not hidden. It's I think it's like an optional boss, or maybe it's not actually. But you have to you go up and you challenge those 3 mantises that are guarding like the entrance to the little storeroom there. That will give you I want to say that it definitely gives you a charm that can greatly extend the reach of your nail. It's a really cool fight. If you could beat some of those other guys, like if you could beat the Crystal Guardian, you could definitely beat the Mantis Lords, I think.
Okay. I'll have to check that out if I'm in the area.
Yeah. And yeah, you know, the only other boss I really want to talk about just really quickly is Hornet, which I think is like a really, really cool fight. And like, man, I am really excited to play. Dude, great sound effects. I can't wait to play as Hornet in Silksong. I think that's going to be so fun using the like needle and thread. I think that's going to be great.
Yeah, Hornet's awesome. Love her. Again, didn't know you fight her a second time, which is which is interesting because there was that there's the cutscene when you get to the Hollow Knight statue, and it looks like she's kind of friendly at that point. So I don't know what triggers a second boss fight there, but yeah, I'm curious to see what happens there. I'm assuming it's going to be a lot harder than the first fight.
Yeah. It's harder, but it's not unfair. So I thought that the second one was really cool as well. And like the second one, I think the coolness factor kind of ties into like more the story, which we'll get to next week. But yeah, really great fight. And again, like really kind of a cool setting for that fight as well. Okay, let's talk about the map, Doom. As we know, every and any good Metroidvania needs a good map. And I won't say this is a perfect Metroidvania map, but I think it's almost perfect. There are some really, really like strong attributes about the map. I love the way that, first and foremost, like this probably sounds dumb, but like I love that it's color coded to have different areas. Like not a lot of your Metroidvanias do that. You can look at the entire map anywhere you are, which again, not every Metroidvania does. It's really detailed and it will show you like precisely like the actual layout, geography of the room, which I think is really great, particularly when looking for doors in some of the bigger rooms that you go into. I think that is really well done. I don't think that there's too many like bogus areas in the game where like it says you can reach somewhere and you can't. The only one that comes to mind is the first area after it gets kind of infected. But I really like the map. The only thing that I do wish that the map did differently is that I wish it told you like which vendors were what, because like you could definitely forget like when you're looking for the banker, for example, like you could forget like where it is and like where it needs to be.
Right.
So I wish that they said what it was.
Yeah, so they definitely like they'll show unique symbols, but like you can't like highlight it and have like text pop up.
Yeah.
I definitely think I agree there. I think that would be more of a minor nitpick. I would say like I would say, you know, aside from my critiques on like I wish the game was a little shorter, I think the actual map design itself is really cool, especially when you start unlocking like all the fast travel options and, you know, secret passages that link all the areas together. Because like at first some of them will get it. You'll look at an area and it's like, man, I have to go from there to there. That's going to be such a long trek. But then, you know, you'll find a hidden breakable wall and it's like, oh, that actually like, that just made that journey a lot easier. And it even gave me an opportunity maybe to use a new ability that I just acquired. I'm definitely thinking of Crystal Cave in this regard. There's a lot of cool opportunities in multiple sections of that area like that. But yeah, it's just a really fun world to like slowly unravel, much like some of the best Metroid games.
You know, I'm kind of going back and forth on this. I don't know. Give me your opinion. For Silksong, would you like the ability to just fast travel anywhere from any time to like a designated spot on the map?
I mean, you can already do that in Hollow Knight, right? With like the stag stations.
No. Like I mean like if I'm at anywhere in the map, not at a station, to just be able to like instantly warp to a station.
Nah, I don't like that. No, because I feel like the point of a Metroidvania is that exploration, and if you can just teleport like anywhere you want to go like that, unless it's like, I don't know, maybe you can like manually place like a teleport somewhere and then like warp back to that at some point if you want to do that. But
actually.
That's the thing you can. Okay, I was just pulling that out of thin air, but
I was gonna say because like they do let you do that. Once you upgrade the Dream Nail enough, you can place a specific marker and then teleport back there. So like on one hand, like I kind of agree with you. I don't know if I'd want that for Silksong or for Hollow Knight, because it does kind of, you know, it does kind of take away from the experience that you're trying to get. But I don't know if I would hate it either. I have to admit.
Probably not like that. Maybe you could have alternate means of fast travel. I don't know if I like the idea of just automatically being able to warp to a point with the press of a button like that. I don't know if I like that. That almost feels antithetical to the concept of a Metroidvania. But and yeah, I don't know. I feel like most of the fast travel in this game are in pretty fair spots. Like like, yeah, if you don't discover them on your run, and that's definitely happened to me, like it can stink a little bit, but I also think that's totally fair game. I mean, that's kind of just a part of a Metroidvania at that point.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I love the old stag that just takes.
Oh,
you
he's
around
great.
everywhere.
I love. I actually realized this today. I didn't realize you could actually talk to him and he'll tell you a
Yeah.
little bit of history about the area. So I actually like. I've started in some of the early game areas where I was going back and collecting some stuff. I'd jump off the platform and just talk to him and let him give me some lore dump. I'm like, yeah, you tell me.
Yeah, I actually, one of my favorite parts of the game is like when you eventually like find all of the stations and the stag's all excited to take you back to where like he grew up, and there's like a hint that maybe there's some baby stags out there. I don't know if we actually ever see any other stags, but I hope we do. That would be nice.
He deserves it. He's a good bug.
He's a good bug. What do we want to talk about next? Let's talk about some of these items that you can get in this game, because I feel like the items are like basically like all of your Metroid abilities distilled down to like their purest and most awesome form. So let me get my game and I'll pull up the exact names because I can't remember precisely what they're called. But I think like gotta be one of the coolest like things that you can get in the game is basically like the Shine Spark, where you get it in the Crystal Peak. What is this thing actually called? The Crystal Heart, where you could basically just charge up and you go blasting. And there are some limitations, so you can't use it in midair. Like, you have to be against a solid surface, but I feel like that totally works. And man, there are some like just awesome puzzles that you can do with this in this game. Like, I think this item is like so cool. And I think there's even like room for it to be expanded upon in Silksong if they choose to bring it back.
Yeah, yeah. This thing is awesome. Definitely one of my favorite abilities you get in the game, and a really cool. It doesn't feel like a direct ripoff of Metroid. Like, it's clearly inspired by like what you can do with the Shine Spark, but like it has its own unique Hollow Knight twist.
Yeah.
And it's really effective, I think. I love using this thing whenever I get the opportunity. There's also a lot of risk too, because the game, it'll make you comfortable with like, hey, here's a long gap, you want to use that, and then there'll be spikes on the other end, and so you gotta be careful when you use it sometimes, and those spikes will end up resetting your position. And so, which I really enjoy that, and it makes you really have to be creative when you use it. I also love the Mantis grip, again, not just with the wall sliding, but the wall jump. It feels so smooth and satisfying to use in this game, and the amount of precision that you get with it, like, it helps not just in platforming, but you can do a lot of really cool stuff in combat too. It's really fun chaining abilities too, like, the aforementioned Crystal Heart, but also with your regular dash. Like, once you start getting a bunch of different like pillar surfaces together, once you get the double jump, like, it's really fun to chain with that. All of the abilities, just like, they really have this bond with each other, and every time you get a new ability, like, you're not just getting a new ability, you're enhancing your previous abilities too. And I think a lot of Metroidvanias don't quite hit the nail on the head, pun intended, but I think Hollow Knight just does that absolutely perfectly.
Like, the Mantis Claw to me feels like the full realization of like Super Metroid's singular wall jump.
Yeah.
Which just feels like so good. And speaking of feeling so good as well, like, pretty standard at this point, but like the Shade Cloak in this game, like your dash ability, feels awesome. Like, just, feels absolutely fantastic. And you know what? They really hold off on the double jump for a long time. And when you finally get it, it's kind of got a unique property where it's like a delayed double jump. So like when you press it, it's not like instantly. There's a little bit of a flutter there while the wings come up, which I think adds a little something to the platforming and everything that you can do with it as well.
It actually reminded me a lot of Prince of Persia. That's another game that holds off the double jump until, like, I would say Prince of Persia even more so, because you don't get double jump until like the end of the game, whereas here, you definitely get it, or at least I assume you can get it a bit earlier. Kind of depends on your playthrough, but yeah, even so, like, you can definitely get this. At least in my playthrough, I'm definitely not at the end of the game yet. So, but I also agree, though, I really do, and I like the animation because it's visually it's not just a delay for the sake of a delay. Like you had that visual cue where you can see the wings spawn and then flutter, and then you can see the jump reacting to that flutter. And so there's like this there's almost like this it feels very physics based to it. And I really like how literal that interpretation is, for sure.
Yeah, I think like just moving in this game feels really good. Like at the very, very beginning, like you're moving a little bit slow, but I think like once you kind of get like, honestly, the dash, because you get the dash pretty early. Like I think once you get that, like everything starts to really click, and like your movement feels like really fluid and feels really, really nice, which I think is probably like a constant strength of Hollow Knight. I will say this as well. Hollow Knight is just like packed with stuff on this map. Like there are, my goodness, like there's the grubs that you can find. That's kind of your main collectible. There are dream warriors that you could fight. Tons of optional, like, you know, you could go find charms, or you could find charm notches, or mask shards, or soul shards, or whatever they're called.
Rare ore for your nail.
Yep. You can upgrade your nail. There's like a optional area where you can do like an enemy gauntlet. Like this map is like just packed to the brim with stuff to do, and like there's 15 main areas in the game, not including like some of the bonus areas. Like this is like just like to your point earlier, like the map. Like, the game is long, but I feel like it's not, like, artificially long. You know what I mean? Which is why I don't mind that it's so long, because, like, it's a ginormous map, but, like, it's dense. Like, there's lots of stuff seemingly in every corner, but there's still space enough for you to, for you to go in and have that kind of, like, isolated Metroidvania kind of feel to it. So I think, like, this map, just in terms of, like, the amount of stuff that you can do and like you can experience, it's like, holy moly, really good.
I will say, and this isn't the game's fault, but it might be that a part of why I feel the game is too long is just because we are in a bit of a time crunch right now, and so I almost do feel like that pressure. It's like, oh, gotta beat it, gotta go fast. Where if I didn't really have anything else, or if I didn't have that deadline and I could like take my time, I probably wouldn't feel that weight as much. So that is something I do think I should acknowledge, because that's not the game's fault.
Yeah, fair. I've still like just got like a ton of like optional stuff in. It does help that you can get like a map that shows you where all of the grubs are and stuff like that, which comes much later in the game. But like I think like just the amount of content in this game is fairly staggering, and we're not even talking about like any of the DLC that they've released, which adds like a whole other level of stuff that you can do.
Here's another gameplay element I really want to talk about, because this is actually something that I heavily changed my mind on from my initial playthrough. Something I didn't like on my initial playthrough that I actually really freaking love now. And that's the benching and mapping system. This on my first playthrough, this like it really annoyed me. I was like, oh, you enter the area, my map's not getting filled in, then when you do, I still can't fill in the map until I reach another bench. This makes exploration really hard and mundane and difficult. Yada yada yada. I am on the complete opposite side of that fence now. I actually think this is a really creative and unique and fun way to do exploration, and it does something actually that I've been a little bit critical of Metroid on, even, and that it makes getting a bench feel incredibly satisfying.
Yeah.
Like in Metroid, you very rarely reach a save station where you're like, oh, thank God I finally hit that save state. Especially now with like checkpoints in the mix in some of the more modern Metroid games. You don't really get that same satisfaction of hitting a save station, unless you're playing like Dread Mode or something like that. Whereas in Hollow Knight, even if you have full health and you're doing really good, just hitting, a brand new bench, you're like, oh my gosh, now I can check the map again and see like all the new areas that are filled in, and I can see like maybe some routes that I missed where where the path is like cut off, and it really gives you a chance to like get a hold of your bearings. I think the mapping system in this game is absolutely fantastic, and again extended to the bench system. Yeah, it makes the discovery of benches like really feel like this incredible discovery.
Yeah,
and so yeah, I'm a huge fan of the way it's handled in this game.
Yeah, and it, I would say it won me over as well. Like it certainly can be frustrating when you're like trying to navigate somewhere and you're like, oh god, like I don't want to make the wrong move to die or get stuck and not have a map to try and find my shade to get my geo back. But I do think it adds like a level of like tension and urgency almost to what you're doing. And eventually like you play enough and you start to kind of pick up on the Hollow Knight language where it's like you could tell that there's going to be an upcoming boss fight
right
when you kind of get to those rooms, even if it's not on your map, so you can make decisions a little bit better. And the game as well does like a good enough job of kind of like telling you like, hey, there's a bench this way or bench that way. There's a lot of like signage in-world signage in the game that will do that. And to bring it back to one of our gripes in the very, very beginning of the show as well, I definitely do think like once you progress far enough into the game is very giving with giving you geo. Like you're really not hurting for geo by, I would say, the halfway point of the game. Like I have just a ton of money that I actually don't know what to do with, and I haven't even sold any of my like crests or arcane eggs or anything like that. Like I still have all of those should I need to sell them, and I've fully upgraded my nail. I've fully got all my charms. I've fully like got all the notches. Like I think the game is pretty good with giving you money.
Because it starts introducing you enemies that like start giving you like a ton of geo with each hit, and by the time you're powerful, like especially if you have like the charge move where you can one shot a lot of these enemies too, you can get quick geo that way. So I definitely definitely not a huge deal if you lose some at that point. One question I did want to ask you, because that actually reminded me, what is the purpose of the crests and like the journal entries? Because I did talk to that vendor that's like, oh, I'll give you 200 geo for each one, but I'm like, I feel like I should hold on to something. I feel like that's going to play a role in something important later. So I haven't done that yet, but I was wondering if that comes into play later for something else.
Someone can correct me on this, and I'm sure they will, but I think they're just to be sold.
Really? Okay. Yeah, because I tried looking it up online, and I couldn't find anyone talking about it, which is like, huh.
Well, let's see what the old Googler tells me. What are those called? The Hollow Knight, literally just journal entries.
Yeah, I think it's journal entries and hollow crests. I believe they're called
hollow crests.
Yeah,
I think
are
definitely
about.
Just to be sold. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, just
because the description mentions that like they're sought out by historians, but like the person that's buying them also doesn't seem like a historian. He sounds like someone that's just trying to resell it for a profit. So I'm like, this feels like something I need to hold on for later, for something important. And I'm trading in money for something really good. And I'm gonna save these, gonna invest these for what will hopefully be worth it. But yeah, maybe it is just more money because I haven't been able to find an answer to that.
I mean, I've sold a few of them and like, nothing, it's been fine. So I want to say that's the answer, but I can't tell you that I'm 100% confident in that. Probably a few people in our Discord could speak more knowledgeably about that, and I'm sure they'll let us know. So yeah, I mean, like, I guess what we should do, because I want to save some stuff for next week, but I guess we should kind of start to wrap it up here. But I'm having a really, really fun time. I'm really excited to get the true ending to this game. I never got it on my first playthrough, and so I'm really working my way towards doing that for this playthrough as well, which will kind of tie into the lore and the story, which we'll go over next week. We'll talk about all the different areas, because there's so much to get into, like 15 plus areas in this game. We won't spend a ton of time on each of them, but we'll talk about what ones really stick out to us. I would say, just like generally speaking, I don't know that there's an area that I'm just like, this is a stinker. There's definitely some areas I like more than others, but I think they're all like pretty strong. And of course, we'll get into the late game bosses.
I would say you could have maybe made an argument for the intro area Crossroads, but again, like it evolves into the affected Crossroads later, and I think like it just gives it this whole new life. But even then, I feel like the Crossroads, like, you know, is even in and of itself, I wouldn't say it's a bad area at the start.
Yeah, I think it's like an effective intro area. And you know, the other good thing too is like these areas are like smaller as well. Like they're probably like Metroid Fusion size areas, which is good when you have like this amount of variety in them as well. So we'll talk about that next week. And I don't know about you, but like I'm going to be buying Silksong on the 4th. Like I'm playing Silksong, so I'll have my first impressions of Silksong for part 2 of Inspired by Metroid as well.
I probably won't be buying it that soon. Again, I'm probably still going to be trying to finish Hollow Knight at that point, but also just I want to get back to my room project, finish all this up. I definitely want to play Silksong before the end of the year, though, because again, I cannot stress enough how happy I am that I'm finally understanding this game, because like, again, that never really sat right with me. But yeah, I'm finally understanding like why this game is clicking with so many people, and it feels great. It really does.
Yeah, and like I knew that I quite liked Hollow Knight like before my second playthrough. I would say my second playthrough, man, I'm just like, this game is just like so good, good. Yeah, so lots to still unpack about Hollow Knight. Our first ever 2-parter, inspired by Metroid, and I think that this is probably the appropriate game to do that with. So lots to look forward to next week. We are going to be talking about the bosses, the story, the areas, and some early Silksong impressions as well. Maybe even Doom, you could get some stuff together like, hey, this is what I'd like to see changed in Silksong, and I could maybe tell you, well, so far I've seen it, or so far I haven't. So yeah, okay. we could definitely go ahead and do that. Knowing Nintendo, they're going to have a Nintendo Direct in the middle of the week that's going to mess up our plans. But hey, if that happens, then we'll just push back part 2 until the week after, and we'll definitely deliver on that. So you won't have to wait long, no matter what. So yeah, there we go. Anything you wanted to touch on before we get out of here for this week that we won't be touching on next week?
Nothing off the top of my head. I think we covered pretty much everything. I don't know. Maybe there's like a really cool enemy design that I'm thinking of, but I think I got most of my thoughts out there that needed to be said today.
You know what we actually didn't talk about, which we should just mention really quickly, is how cool and / cute the Hollow Knight actually looks. Like your avatar, the knight.
Mm-hmm. You know what? That actually is something I want to talk about. I love how as you progress through the game, when you start rescuing more people, the Dirtmouth village starts to get more filled up. Some of them will become shopkeepers that you end up buying items from. Yeah. Some of them they don't really offer you anything, but they're really nice additions anyways. Like I thought there's that one bug that you rescue who like gets really shy when you sit on the bench with her. I thought that was really adorable.
She's
and
so sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, and stuff like that. I always love hearing the dialogue from like the town master and how kind of clueless he is on a lot of this stuff. Just like, oh, bunch of people don't come back there. I guess they found what they were looking for. Nah, they probably died down there. Let's be real. Like I love some of his dialogue options. I don't think there's a single cast member in this game that I dislike. Everyone in this game, like there's something about him that just really connects, I think.
My guy is Zote the Mighty, the Life Ender. I love him so much. He's like the guy on 3rd place in the podium that's just going crazy with the champagne. I love this man.
It was funny because I was actually looking at the achievements, and apparently there's an achievement you get for not rescuing him, which is like, wait, you can do that? You can just sacrifice him?
Shame on you if you have that achievement, okay?
I do not have that achievement. I just saw that on my achievement list. I just want to put that out there.
So okay, the last thing I'm going to say is there is kind of like the hard mode bosses that we talked about. Zote is one of them, and he is actually like ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's not for the faint of heart at all. So yes, there we go. Okay, so Hollow Knight Part 1 in the books. We're going to be back here with Hollow Knight Part 2. Lore, areas, bosses, endgame, final thoughts, plus Silksong impressions, all coming at you next week. Unless Nintendo pulls a fast one, then it will be coming the week after. Still no release date for Metroid Prime 4. We will just wait with bated breath. Likely a Nintendo Direct coming at some point this month. We hope. So hopefully we can get some clarity on that. And yeah, when we know something, we'll certainly let everyone else know and discuss it on the podcast. Okay, my friends, that is going to do it for us. Thank you for checking us out. We are, of course, going to get out of here, but we want to encourage you to check us out wherever you get your podcast. Go like and subscribe and recommend, rate, review, all that kind of good stuff. If you got a Metroid or a Hollow Knight fan in your life, tell them where they can get their weekly Metroid fix, and let them know about the Omega Metroid Podcast. Let them know about OmegaMetroid.com. We have news and guides and maps and all sorts of stuff. Anything that you could possibly want as a Metroid fan lives over on OmegaMetroid.com, so go and give that a check out. And as well, give us a sub over on YouTube. If you ever want to watch these podcasts in video form, see our smiling faces, you could definitely do so. We also have full video walkthroughs for a lot of the different Metroid games over there as well. Every expansion, 100% walkthrough, so go and check it out. And of course, give us a follow over on Blue Sky at Spiteri316, at Duminal Cross, and at Omega Metroid. And that, my friends, is going to do it for us. So, until next week, everybody, take care.